Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Revival of America podcast. This is Jenny. I'm the owner and the host of the Revival of America. Today we have Alpha Warrior in the house, everybody. We rescheduled it from last week, so he will be in here shortly, everybody. So please, if you are over there on X Live or Rumble Live, if you have a question for Alpha, feel free to write it down in the comment box, and then I will read these questions to Alpha at some point. If you're here on X Spaces, please request a mic and I will unmute your mic and you can ask Alpha your question as well. Also, to everybody, please be careful what you listen to, who you follow, what you're putting into your mind. A lot of crazy stuff going on out there, but there's a lot of great stuff coming in behind all of that. More positive than there is negative. So hang on to that positive, everybody, because we are truly winning this war. Also, guys, I'm getting a lot of messages, and I know this is happening. I'm getting a lot of people saying that they're getting random messages or DMs from somebody pretending to be either myself or one of my guests. If you get something like that, I tell my audience all the time, please block, report them, let me know so I can make sure they're not in any of my channels, because myself or any of my guests, we will not randomly reach out to you and ask you if you're ready for a scare event, any financial information, anything about crypto. So please, guys, block, report them. These scammers are getting more, their scams are getting more crazy on a daily basis. I mean, I have people reaching out to me just wanting to get on a podcast, so they make up some kind of lame, unlegitimate story so they could just get on the podcast. So please, everybody, be careful, because a lot of people are unfortunately falling for it and getting taken for a lot of money. Some of them are livelihoods. It's very tragic and it's very scary. So please, everybody, be careful. Also, too, we are being listened to in over 100 countries, actually 150 countries. So please, if you come in late to this podcast or you want to share it with somebody, feel free to follow the podcast on the podcast host or my social medias, which are iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, POCKETCAST, PODBEAN, Riverside, Amazon Music. Social medias are Jenny JERREAD Facebook, at Jenny_JERREAD X, at JJERREAD Rumble, at JJERREAD True Social, at JJERREAD Instagram, Revival of America on Telegram, and the Revival of America over on YouTube. Also, everybody, if you have an email that you want to send me, please send it to my email at therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com. Don't DM me questions and stuff, because I'm just trying to centralize everything, because I'm getting a lot of messages, in different locations from Facebook, Instagram, X. It's just easier for me to read all your emails over there on my personal email. So please, the Revival of America at yahoo.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. And if you guys don't mind, please go down to the purple pill and repost this space, everybody, because many of you do know Alpha. He has a lot of great information, and he is going to be with us here every other Wednesday. Obviously, as our schedules permit, but he is going to be a reoccurring guest, and I think it's very important. Not that he's not busy enough, huh, Alpha? I did send you the co-host, Alpha, by the way. Yeah, he's going to be joining us here at the Revival of America on a more regular basis. And then everybody, too, Derek Johnson is back. For those of you that have been asking me, Derek Johnson is coming back. As we know, many of us know, his father did pass, so he took some time to grieve. But he is back. He will be on my show. He's on every other Mondays, and he will be back next Monday. So if you guys want to come over to Telegram and check him out, well, it'll be here live on X as well as Rumble. And just show him some support and love. He will be back next Monday. So with that, everybody, I want to welcome my good friend, Alpha Warrior, and an absolute true warrior in this movement. And just in life in general, from being still a Marine, from a detective to now he is behind the keyboards and showing his little bicep, his bicep there. And he gets a lot of shit for it, for sure. But what's up, my friend?
I definitely work on it. I'd like to consider it a tad bigger than little.
I corrected myself.
And it is the original photo from when I decided to do the podcast. So the brand is still holding up, and it's good to be here.
Oh, I love it. I love giving you shit, and I know you get a lot of shit about it, just from many of us in these other spaces. But I think it's super cute. But how you doing, my friend? You have been busy. To say the least. I mean, you've got a show right after me, and then your show later this evening, right?
I do. It's back to back to back. A new show starting on Friday.
Wait, what? A new show? What? Yeah, like you need a new show. What is it?
So it is.
Oh my goodness!
It's if you guys think of the concept that I do with Ghost, the Middle East in 30 minutes ish, and you know that the gems get dropped during that ish portion of the show, that's going to be this, and it's essentially going to be geopolitics with Chris Moreno, and there's two purposes for this. One, I've been trying to encourage Chris for quite some time to get his own podcast going because he has a true understanding of geopolitics. From being on the Democratic side and on the Republican side. But the other thing is his perception is also analyzed primarily through the lens and optics of what I would call the Normieville. And this is very important because one of the things that I've noticed in our movement is that we've completely abandoned getting information and listening to normie information that's intended for normies that's out there. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, why the hell do we care about normie information when we're red-pilled and we're beyond that? Well, there's a couple reasons. The first one being is whether it's the good guys or the bad guys that are creating the narrative that's in the normie sphere, it's still information. And people have always, asked, well, I won't say always, but that's a question that's largely asked of me is, are you accurate on these things solely because of the information you get from sources? And the information that would be no. That does help tremendously. But, Jenny will tell you, it's very rare that a source will give you direct info. Typically what they're doing is look into this person, or hey, you're pretty accurate on that, or hey, you should have went a little bit farther, or hey, I'm hearing things are going to start going down in this neck of the woods. And it's more of an assist than it is direct information. And when it is direct information, I'm actually very cautious with that. And most of the time I won't put it out because I'm worried about classifications and things like that, or if I'm just being steered array. So again, with normie information combined with decodes, combined with the information in the realm that a lot of us operate in primarily, it allows you to do an assessment on a broader picture. It allows you kind of step back beyond that 40,000 foot view and be like, okay, this is what we're digging, this is what we're decoding, this is what the agenda or the narrative looks like in Normieville. This all looks like we're coming to this. And I decided, why just keep that on the backside of when I'm developing analysis, and why not just put that out there for my audience? So I started thinking long and hard on who that I want to bring on to do something like this. And I ultimately came to the decision of Chris. I've had him on the show a few times with James R. and others on his assessment of geopolitics and elections. And you guys have seen him and James were just spot on every single time with a lot of these things. And so it's going to be that. So it'll be geopolitics with Chris Moreno, and it'll also be about a 35-minute show tops. I really am going to try to keep that one in the bubble. And that'll be on Fridays. This Friday will be the first episode of that. And then we're going to lock down the time to probably either 12 p.m. Eastern or maybe 2 Eastern. So stand by for the time. But that's the big news. That's the big news coming up this week, Jenny.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. I mean, damn, dude. Like, where do you find the time to add another show?
Jenny, it's you know this, and from the conversations that we've had, there is no time. Like there is no time. So the answer to that question is I'm taking time from other things.
Yep.
And
And
that becomes very hard. It becomes very hard on your personal life. Becomes very hard on your family life, your friends, and it's one of those sacrifices that I'm prepared to make over the next now 3 more years. Because you guys all know, I said 2 years ago I'm done in 5.
Yep.
So
I remember that.
Yeah. So we're down to about 3 years now. So that'll put us 1 year into the new administration, if there is a new administration. So between now and then, I will just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. and then hopefully I'm in a situation where I can rest at the end of this.
Oh, well, you certainly deserve it, my friend. You've done great work, and I'm very honored to be in this fight with you, as well as as be a part of my show as well. So thank you for that, Alpha. You're an absolute gem, and just keep doing what you're doing, my friend. You're doing a great job.
Well, I appreciate that. So with that, there's a lot.
Yeah, what are we going to touch on today? So much, dude.
You know, there's no way that I can come on this week and us not at least have at least a brief conversation on California and elections.
Oh my goodness, let's go there. Yeah, let's do it. What the front door?
Let's just come out kicking and screaming. Right?
Well, you live in California, so you're seeing it firsthand.
I do, you know, and I've been very public on, you know, come midterms, whoever wins the governorship is going to have an extreme impact on whether I continue to live in this state or move me and my family out of this state. So that's how significant these elections are. So let's come down to, you know, the elephant in the room. Is the elections in California being stolen? I don't think there's anybody, even from Democrats, that will argue that position right now. I've gone in the tunnels, and forgive me, I got a little one here. You guys know I'm daddy duty on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh, I love it.
But yeah, even in the tunnels of some of these extreme Democrat rooms, these extreme independent rooms, I'm hearing the conversations of, I know my people didn't vote for Bass. I know these are people that they're not Trumpers. Like they don't like Trump and they don't like us. Like they are not MAGA folks, but they hate Bass and they hate the Democrats in political positions. And they saw Spencer Pratt, as crazy as this sounds, as a reality TV guy that they could get on board with. And so a lot of them are having these conversations of, we know we voted for him. Like, what the hell's going on? And so why this is important, and I'll get more into it as we taper off from California, has a lot to do with Trump's move that's coming. So just keep that on the back burner. But to stay focused on California, is what you're seeing the broad demographics of people realizing, okay, there's something that's afoot here, and maybe there's some legitimacy to what this guy Trump that I love or this guy Trump that I hate is saying. That's big. That's a crack in the ice. That's when you talk about unity, and I'm not saying that, we're trying to get unity. I'm not preaching rainbows. But what I'm saying is, when you're trying to get unity for the purposes of pushing an information agenda, this is a huge way to accomplish that. Huge. The other part that we're seeing is we have investigations that are unfolding in California. That's very important. Why is that very important? If you rewind the clock to a week before these primary votes came to California, Gavin Newsom came out and he just bragged about it. I think it was yesterday or the day before. You know, Trump, FAFO, you want to talk about arrests? If these politicians want to start getting in the way of these ballots, in other words, if they look into these and start to investigate this stuff, we're going to charge them with up to 3 years in prison. He literally passed the law a week before primaries to try to deter people from looking into the elections. He's trying to solidify the cheat, and everybody's seeing that. Even Como on his crazy podcast is talking about this, and that's important. So if you rewind it back to a couple weeks ago, you had somebody from I'm trying to remember her name, in California. Her name gets away from me, but she just pled guilty to campaign fraud. And so what do you think she's going to do? She's absolutely going to she's probably already talking, but she's going to continue to identify all this stuff. So you have all this theft that's now, the indictment from the public is out. And I've said and you know this, Jenny, I've said for a very long time, the most powerful tool in an information warfare is the court of public opinion. And right now you're seeing in California an indictment from Californians. Doesn't matter whether they're Republicans, doesn't matter whether they're Democrats. You're seeing an indictment from the everyday American against the political elite and against the talking heads, whether they're Republican talking heads or Democratic talking heads. They're now being bunched up together. So you got them being bunched up together, and you got Democrats, independents, and California that are in California bunching up together. That's a big deal. Why? Because I firmly believe that you are going to see arrests of political figures in California before we get to midterms. Either a physical arrest
Alpha, we lost you. Tell people to stop calling you. You're in the middle of a show. He'll be back, guys. Hang tight, everybody. And for those of you that just are popping in, if you guys don't mind reposting this space, get some people in here. Because as many of you know, Alpha gives a lot of great information. If you guys aren't following him, please give him a follow because he's doing the work, everybody. Many of us are doing the work. But as you can see, he's adding another show to his already many shows. I guess it's kind of like me a little bit. You know, I have all these different guests that come on. He's kind of doing the same thing. So I love what he's doing, and he's definitely out there fighting for us for sure. So, but also too, if you guys want to request a mic here and ask Alpha a question here on X Spaces, please feel free to request a mic. I will unmute your mic at some point, and then over on Rumble and X Live, if you guys have a question for Alpha, please write it in the comment section, and I will read it to him at some point here in the podcast as well. So hang tight, everybody. We will wait for Alpha to come back. Hopefully he's good. That was kind of weird. What's up, Joyzy? I see you in the house. What's up, girly?
Hello. Well, I figured I'd give you somebody to talk to at least.
I hate the awkward silence. Like, you know,
I did too.
especially over there on Telegram. When I do my lives on Telegram, you know, it's that awkward silence. So I come on and do my PSAs and yeah. So how are you? Obviously, we were in another space before this, so yeah, I saw you over there. Things are moving. I'm super excited to see all the stuff that's happening. I can't keep up with it. I mean, what I just read in that space over there about Donald Trump giving Pulte the go ahead to start taking down the deep state with arrests and everything. That's huge.
Oh my God, I'm like so happy. Okay, darn.
Yeah,
he's back.
He's back. All right,
Here
Alpha.
he is. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Alpha. I sent you the co-host. And then go ahead and finish what you were going to say, Alpha. And then I want to ask you a couple questions. Go ahead, Alpha. What happened? Somebody call you in the middle of your show?
I have no idea what happened, but I redid the update, so hopefully it was just that. Don't know what part I got cut off at. What was the last thing that you heard, Jenny?
We were talking about the elections. Shit.
You said in the elections that there will be an arrest.
There you go.
Yes. So whether it's a physical arrest or an indictment, that's definitely going to come down the pipeline for California before midterms. You know, I'm a strong believer in that coming. And so obviously that only gives us a couple of weeks till we get to that point. But no, hit me up with your questions.
So, well, we know Tulsi Gabbard's going to go out with a bang. We know we have Tina Peters here. 2020 is not over yet. And then we just had Donald Trump come out and he was talking about, let's see, something about Pulte. I put it up here about basically giving Pulte the go-ahead to start arresting, just finishing up the deep state and getting rid of him. Let me see what it is. Just in, President Trump has instructed incoming acting director of National Intelligence, Bill Pulte, to immediately start firing and downsizing the deep state. That's huge. They're panicking. No wonder they're panicking.
They're absolutely panicking. And listen, it's not a coincidence that Tina Peters gets released while all this is starting to unfold. I agree with you. I know Josh has this position too, that DNI Tulsi Gabbard is going to drop some gems on her way out, which was supposed to be the 30th. But then Trump made a pretty big announcement yesterday. I think it was yesterday, the day before, where he says, well, we're probably looking at him taking over on, I think it was like the 19th or something like that. So 10 or 11 days early. Now, why is that important? Well, one, because you got, the establishment all screaming for Trump to not make Pulte the acting DNI. And this is Trump, at a minimum, this is Trump flexing on the establishment uni party, saying you don't dictate who I'm going to have. As a matter of fact, I'm going to move it up early. At a minimum, it's that. If you really wanted my thoughts on what I think it is, it's what Trump's been doing since January of 2025. It's operations, it's leak operations, it's ambushes, and it's traps. They thought they had a certain window to do some certain moves before Tulsi came out to try to rock the boat for Trump and his appointment to the acting DNI, which is Pulte. Trump moved that timeline up on them. If he moved that timeline up on them, that means he's already got them monitored because he wants to see who's going to do what and what's going to respond. He's going to flush them out. He's using an accelerated timeline to make them make a mistake to flush out the remaining people. And I think that's absolutely brilliant. What's also very important about this move with Pulte? Well, we knew when Tulsi Gabbard came out, she finally confirmed Rico. We've talked about that a lot, especially with on this show, Jenny. Well, what does Pulte have access to? He's in charge of the housing. What do we know what's going on there? If you guys have watched any of the shows that I've done with Sean Taylor from quite a few years ago, especially the last year and this year, we've been talking about the mortgage fraud, especially the mortgage fraud that was happening in Maricopa County. If you don't remember, we're talking $400,000 houses that were being sold for $400 million. And then all of a sudden those titles are gone. And this was happening by a lot of the same politicians, a lot of the same banks, and it was just massive. So the guy that was at the head of where these investigations is now going into the acting DNI. What does that mean? That means any investigations he still had or any other tools that he needed access to take those investigations one step further, maybe to establish RICO in those cases, or maybe to connect already existing RICO to another one and show the collaboration of all these different criminal enterprises. He's now going to be in the position to do that as acting DNI. Now, if Trump knows that they are not going to confirm him, they're not going to give this guy the blessing, then Trump knows he has, 220 days, 250, 210 days? He knows that that's like the maximum that he has with Pulte. So then that puts us somewhere towards the end of January when he would have to announce the next one. So is Trump putting different people now, and Pulte being the first one, right, after Tulsi Gabbard, is he now going to move people like Pulte and maybe the next one that are all handling different RICO cases into the top law enforcement intelligence spot that exists in this country to finish those things off? That is the kind of the pathway that I'm leaning on this. Regardless, if this entire evolution from now to midterms unfolds the way me and a few others think it is, then that means we're not talking red wave, we're talking red tsunami come midterms, because Trump is going to take the entire apparatus and do it his way. And if we've all heard anything, military is the only way, that we could do that on another show as well. We're looking at that coming, which means that when we get into January of 2026, Trump is going to have a government. He is going to have a super majority in the government. There's no longer going to be the resistance that he has with the Senate, with the House, with anything, which means now that's the environment that you start to arrest the big dogs. That's the environment you really start to be aggressive on the way you topple the regime, because there's nobody there that can scream impeachment because it's not going to have any backing. There's nobody there that can scream to the NGOs because they're probably not going to be in existence. There's nobody there that's going to try to weaponize the judges that have been a part of this cabal takeover, because all of their mechanisms of control is going to be removed. And a lot of them are just going to go along to get along because they're looking at self-preservation, because they're going to see the collapse of the entire establishment or the entire cabal. I truly think that's what we're seeing unfold between now and November.
So it's moves and counter moves, right?
Moves, counter moves,
5D chess.
and counters to the counters. There is some wild stuff that's at play right now, and it's to a level that is so impressive.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's huge. Okay, and so we're talking about Mark Taylor, and I tell my audience all the time a lot to, hear Juan O'Savin talking about. He's got that summit coming up in Vegas here, actually next week. Unfortunately, I'm not able to make it, but I think Mark Taylor is going to be there. But they're going to be talking about, this is also to everybody what we are going to be seeing here up and coming is the mortgage fraud being exposed, like Alpha just said, as well as the school bonds that's going to be exposed. Once people find out what the money that they've been giving their kids for their schools, to find out where that money's gone, not to the schools. Besides the mortgage fraud, people are going to be upset about the school bonds, and that exposure is going to be huge too. Can you maybe touch a little bit on that, of what you know, if you do know anything about it?
I've heard of the school bonds. I'm sorry. A lot of people sent that stuff my way. I never dug into it. I know you probably know way more about it than I do. But I do know that it's a weapon system that people can use if they're aware of it. But that's definitely not my forte.
Well, the school bonds it's gonna let everybody know that all this money that you've been given to your kiddos for the schools, it's not going for the schools. Just like much of our money, when we pay taxes, doesn't go to the roads, doesn't go to the things it's supposed to, right? It's been going to a lot of these politicians and CEOs and people like that. They're pay to play, if you will, like they're playing. It's their play money. So it's going to be kind of another huge situation, maybe not as big, but it's going to be pretty big from what Juan has told me when it comes to the exposure of it as it kind of compare it to the mortgage fraud. So I think people need to get ready and prepare for that. Juan does talk a lot about the financial part of this and people being prepared for how that's going to look. Nobody really knows until we know. But just pay attention, everybody, to what's going to be happening on the onslaught here coming forward with the mortgage frauds and the school bonds, because it's gonna be pretty big, from what I understand.
It is, and I've always where I've kind of found my peace because Jenny, there's so many different perspectives and angles to come at this that it's impossible to try to grasp all of them. It's that vast. And I've always just kind of operated under, I know a lot of people go back to the original law, and there's a lot of people that have spent a lot of time studying into that, and I respect the studying they've done into that. But I've always known that that's never going to be in the first initial phases of the war, because it'll never work. You can't come to a judicial court with natural law and the original law, because they're going to push you right out, because the apparatus is designed to protect the apparatus. So now when that starts to collapse on itself and get exposed, then I think that's what we see in the rebuilding phase of this country. I think that the people that have that expertise, I think that's when you're going to see them, the cream rise to the top, right? And I think a lot of these people have been very frustrated with, I'm not getting a lot of podcast time, I'm not getting a lot of airtime, people aren't trying to interview me. I know that these people have a lot of frustration because they've really put in a lot of, studying into this, and they know it, and they're not wrong. Some of them go a little too far, but the vast majority of them are not wrong. But I think when they're going to realize the point when it comes to all right, now you guys are on deck, and now you guys are going to be the ones leading this next part of the show. And that's going to be at a time when the decoding becomes irrelevant. For those that it's going to break your heart, we're going to have a phase in the rebuilding time where decoding is not going to matter anymore. We're beyond that. That's decoding is part of the initial phase of the war, where covert and strategy and tactics is important. We're not going to need that when it gets into the rebuilding phase. So that's kind of my take on that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Do you want to touch a little bit on the Iran situation going on here? Or see, I just something came across my feed here.
Did you get the update?
Oh, well, is there something new since the other space that I read about the U.S. military are taking millions of barrels of oil?
I know Trump yesterday said, well, Iran's finding out right now that we're taking millions of barrels of oil. But you also had Hegseth about an hour or two ago that came out and says, because he's at Guantanamo Bay, imagine that, just came out and said, well, CENTCOM's going to be very busy tonight because Trump said we're going to be dropping bombs on Iran. Now, that said, what do we know about the way Trump and our military operates? They never say what they're going to do.
And he said it the other day in his press conference that he would never tell us what was up directly.
He wouldn't. And so then that got to get everybody wondering, well, then how are they telling us that they're going to be bombing tonight? And what is that? What is Trump? What was Trump before he was ever a president, or I dare even say it, a politician? He was a businessman.
Yep.
He was a negotiator. And what you're seeing here is a negotiation. You have the Secretary of War coming out and saying, they keep saying they don't want a nuclear weapon. Well, then bring that shit to the table. Because if you don't, we're going to do this. And so And then Trump played that clip, right? I forget what movie it is, but where he's talking about, gosh, help me out here, Jenny.
Was it on his True Social?
Yeah, it was on True Social. It was just yesterday. And he goes, when we do the same type of damage they do to us, there's a word for it. It's from the movie. It's pretty much the highlight of the entire clip of that movie. But the president that's acting in the movie, essentially the point he's making is it's tit for tat. Okay, they do this, and they know when they do this, we're going to hit that. So then we hit an abandoned airfield. We hit an oil refinery where they've already removed all their people from. And the general in the movie's telling him, well, that's how this works. And again, he's using that word that I can't remember. I apologize. And so you have, Michael Douglas is the one that's playing the president. He comes out and he says, it doesn't have to be that way. And the general's like, that's the only way it can be. And he goes, there's no other option. He goes, there is another option. And so then the military general's like, well, what is it? He goes, we do mass chaos destruction. He goes, we show them that if you take out an American, we are going to completely obliterate you. He goes, that's the message we send. Trump replayed that on Truth yesterday.
Is that the, I'm looking at his Truth right now. Is this the one with all the military generals? It's like a minute and 33 seconds.
Yes, it's the one. If you can play the audio, it's fantastic.
Okay,
it's proportionate response.
Go ahead, Rubber Duck.
Thank you, Rubber Duck. That's exactly what I was. That's all he needed.
Thank you.
But that's why I came up, because I had the fucking word. I said I got to get up here and tell him. Rubber Duck saw me drowning. He had to throw in the life vest.
I was trying to get over to True Social quick enough to get it to you, but he beat me to it. Thank you, Rubber Duck.
Michael Douglas was the giveaway. That was the American president, which was that was what's his name's movie set. That's where the Joe Biden administration was filmed, on that movie set. If you have access to that clip, Jenny, it is worth playing. It really is that important.
All right, let me see if my computer. Let me see. Hang on a second, guys. Let me get to it.
Looking for it.
Okay, hang on. Let me see, guys. Let me get to it. Let me see. If you tell me if you guys give me a thumbs up if you can hear it, I'm gonna play it. Let me see. Got to unmute my thing here. Bear with me, guys. Okay, it's all the way up. Okay, here we go. No sound. Rubber Duck. You got a good system over there? I don't.
Yeah, where is it?
It's on his True Social, and it's you can see where it's all the military generals. It's a minute and 33 seconds. I don't know why it's not.
All right, stand by. I'll get it.
Hold on, guys. Hold on a minute.
While Rubber Duck's getting that, like I said, it's important enough to hear, because our president said this, and I thought I heard somebody.
Hold on a second. Yeah, but Rubber Ducks is going to sound better than mine. Hang on just a second. Let me see. Can you guys hear this? Too low, huh?
Yeah, it's low.
Okay. All right, Rubber Duck. When you got it keyed up, let us know. Go ahead, Alpha.
Yeah, so you have the president coming out and saying that. It looks like Rubber Duck's ready to go, so fire off, Rubber.
Come on, Rubber Dick.
Hey now, President. I'm fucking here to help. Holy shit.
I love it. I'll never be able to live that down. Go for it, Rubber Duck. Are you there, Rubber Duck? I know I didn't offend you by that.
You gotta love Wednesdays. Well, if we ever did get to the clip, again, the significance of it is because. All right, here we go.
Sir, what is the virtue of Scenario 1, or Pericles 1 to use his code name, sir? What is the virtue of a proportional response? I'm sorry? What is the virtue of a proportional response? Why is it good? They hit an airplane, so we hit a transmitter, right? That's a proportional response. Sir, in the case of Pericles, they hit a barracks, we hit 2 transmitters. That's roughly it, yes. This is what we do. I mean, this is what we do. Yes, sir. It's what we do. It's what we've always done. Well, if it's what we do, if it's what we've always done, don't they know we're going to do it? Sir, if you turn your attention to Pericles 1. I turn my attention to Pericles 1. It's 2 ammo dumps, an abandoned railroad bridge, and a Syrian intelligence agency. Those are 4 highly rated targets, sir. But they know we're going to do that. They know we're going to do that. Those areas have been abandoned for 3 days now. We know that from the satellite, right? We have the intelligence. Sure. They did that, so we did this. It's the cost of doing business. It's been factored in, right? Am I right, or am I missing something here?
No, sir, you're right, sir.
Then I ask again, what is the virtue of a proportional response?
There is no virtue. It isn't virtuous, Mr. President. It's all there is, sir.
It is not all there is, sir.
Admiral, excuse me, Leo. Pardon me, Mr. President. Just what else is
The
it?
disproportional response. Let the word ring forth from this time and this place, gentlemen. You kill an American, any American, we don't come back with a proportional response. We come back with total disaster.
Scenario 1 or Pericles.
Well done. Actually, that was from the West Wing, not from the movie, but equally as effective.
Yeah, it just
Martin Sheen as the president.
just gives me absolute goosebumps because, folks, our president posted that clip about less than a day ago, 20 hours ago. The president of the United States posted that. So for those that think that Trump doesn't know what the fuck he's going on, he literally just posted a clip that says, I know exactly what's going on. And he's saying that what you have seen me do, this tit for tat, is playing the game of the deep state, because again, Rubber Duck, you said it, and so did you, Jenny, moves and counter moves. But now we're moving into a position of you're going to see the wrath of the U.S. military. And for those of you that have not been paying attention, we have a huge military presence right now surrounding the Middle East and by Southeast Asia. Huge. Well, everybody's been focused on everything else. He has been moving ships and Marines and sailors and ships and Marines and sailors. Why is that? Because Trump knows, and what he's doing is he's doing the art of the deal. I've done the tit for tat with you guys. We've done the optics with you guys. He has showed them, look, I have destroyed you in the court of public opinion. Humanity has now indicted all the leaders of the cabal. And so what he's telling the cabal is, it doesn't matter. And I know people are going to get pissed off. I said this on my show too. I know people are going to get pissed off when I say it, but the truth is the fucking truth. What Trump is doing right now is he's showing the cabal, especially the cabal that's entrenched within the U.S. government, it's irrelevant what you think the Constitution limits me to, because I now have the court of public opinion on my side with the American people and with humanity. And if you guys want to take this to the next step, we are now in a position to do this. Why is this important? Because if you go all the way back to one of the Q posts, I'll look for it right now when I take a breath to give you guys a number. But it's one of the early ones. It might even be 36. I could be wrong. But essentially, the post says that we were prepared to do the unthinkable. And this got leaked to the delegates of Barack Obama, which is why he didn't call for fraud in the 2016 election. Now, what does this translate into? And obviously, I'm summarizing that post. It's a very long post. This is at the bottom of that.
If you want, I'll give you the end of it. If Trump failed, if we failed, and Hillary assumed control, we as patriots were prepared to do the unthinkable. This was leaked internally and kept the delegate recount scam and Barack Obama from declaring fraud. So let me do that now with my new tongue. If Trump failed, we all failed. And Hillary Clinton assumed control, we as patriots were prepared to do the unthinkable. This was leaked internally and kept the delegate recount scam and Barack Obama from declaring fraud. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was an independent third party that ran from somewhere in the Midwest. It was a woman, and I forget her name. But she put a little tinker in the till at the very end of that recount bullshit too. And I forget her name, but she had done the same thing in past elections before. And then, she came to be known as a Democrat plant as well, masking as a independent.
So here's the point that I want to land, Jenny, because I got about 6 minutes and then I got to fly, and I want to make sure people understand the significance of what Rubber Duck just read. we as patriots were prepared to do the unthinkable. Well, if you're saying that we're prepared to do the unthinkable, you're already telling me we're outside the Constitution. Because if you were going to do something within the Constitution, that wouldn't be considered unthinkable. So think about that for a second. The Patriots were saying
They were ready for a hostile coup.
They were ready for a hostile coup. And now what Trump has done by positioning our military all over the world, specifically in the Middle East and Southeast Asia, the way he has, by everything that he's done, by choking out the energy war against the cabal's hold on the CCP, on Venezuela, on Iran, what he's done is he says, look, we are now where we were in 2016. Back then, you didn't push us to do the unthinkable because you thought that you still had a pathway to winning. I have shown that you don't. I've taken away your instruments of money laundering through USAID, the NGOs, National Endowment for Democracy. I have taken away your power of cartels and MS-13. I've shut down your invasion to our country. I've gotten your operatives to start self-deporting. I have created, a board of peace in the Middle East, aka Sovereign Alliance. I've lightened the sanctions on Putin because we got a relationship going on there. I have had your internal people now be indicted and they're talking, and I'll fire off real quick on Bolton before I fly out the window. He's now telling them, we are now at that point where we could do the unthinkable again on a global scale, and we're guaranteed the win now. So we can do this through one movie script, which is where some of you are going to get indicted, some of you will just vanish into the ether, or this is going to play out the way a lot of my guys want it to play out. And he's talking about us, guillotines and all that shit. And he's giving them, we can let this play out like a very boring movie, or I can give my people exactly what they want. But he also understands that pathway is going to come with more violence, more loss of life, and more loss of property. And he'd rather go the more peaceful route, which a lot of us would consider boring, but that is the route that a leader like him would pursue.
As I understand it, that was the guarantee, one of the guarantees he was given, at whenever that meeting took place where he was recruited, then agreed and then was put out there with a script, is that the guarantees that were set in place, they had to be a certain way. And the only way they could have given Trump the guarantees he needed is if a portion of the public part of the operation was already done. That's why most of this was done prior to 2017.
Yep. And so that brings us to, well, how do we know, Alpha? How do we know? Well, one, if you've been listening to Jenny or Rubber Duck or Jersey or any of the people, you've seen how right they've been. But here's the one that I'll land on, and then I gotta fly. I'll probably take one more question, Jenny. If you guys remember, and I think I even said this on your show the last time, Jenny, I said, if Comey and Bolton plea out in 6 to 9 months, there are 2,000% cooperating with the DOJ. Because if little Alpha could use his resource and crowdfunding to make my case delay for 4 years to get it as close to the Trump presidency as I could, these guys, money's not an issue for them. They can easily delay this, 1050 this, and postpone this towards the end of 2028, the beginning of 2028, or even into late 2028. That is not hard. They can do it easy. So I said, if you see them reach a plea in 6 to 9 months, I guarantee you 2,000% that they are cooperating and that they are giving up people. And what did we just find out from Bolton 2 days ago? He is going to be entering a guilty plea. And it's inside that window that I told you guys. So no, I'm not a fortune teller. No, I don't have quantum AI. That is me using my background, what I've come from, what I've learned in this movement. And some people that I've talked to come to this conclusion, they are done. You are going to see Comey enter a plea before we get to midterms, and that is going to be the end of Brennan. And why is the end of Brennan so important right now? Because Brennan is the deep state's version of General Flynn. And when you take out Brennan, their entire operational planner, it's done. It's gone. There's nothing left. So I know everybody wants to see Obama. I know everybody wants to see Hillary. So do I. The most important indictment that we can see is Brennan's. When we see Brennan's, that means that they have conceded to do this the peaceful way with Trump. If we don't see Brennan's, then that means is that they're probably going to try to start a war between Erdogan and Bibi. They're probably going to try to get. That means that they're choosing to do this the hard way, which is FAFO. So Brennan is the catalyst to figuring that out. Jenny, I got about 90 seconds, so you ask me whatever you want.
Well, I know you got to bounce, everybody. He's got to go do his other shows. Alpha Warrior, I appreciate you being here. Thank you, my friend. He is here with us. He's going to be here with us every other Wednesday, everybody. So don't fret. He'll be back. And you see
every other Wednesday, lightweight.
Yeah. Well, he's got all these shows. Damn, he's adding a new one. So come back and join us when he comes back. I mean, you guys see Alpha Warrior popping around a lot of these spaces anyway. So if you're not following him, everybody, definitely check him out. He's got some great information and a lot of great guests too. So Alpha Warrior, thank you so much. God bless you, my friend, and go kill it on your other shows. And thank you all for being here. Thank you, Rubber Duck. Thank you, Jersey. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. God bless everybody.